Hello everybody, I have got a replay today. This one is from the archives from earlier this year. And this is going to be a ZVT between yours truly, BubblyFrog, and the Red Terran BERSERK. So BERSERK is my cousin from Hong Kong, and we used to play a lot of 1v1s with each other. We're both pretty familiar with each other's gameplay, and I'm not really sure who wins this one. I was just looking through my replays. I saw a pretty long game, thought it was probably gonna be good, so I don't really remember what goes on in this game, but I'm expecting it to be pretty good. I mean, you can see from the video length that this is a fairly long game, and again, we are both pretty familiar with each other's playstyles. I know that BERSERK likes to go for mech, and I don't know if this is because his fingers aren't fast enough to split bio, or if that's because of the ping across servers, because again, he's from Hong Kong, but he does usually go for mech, and he is pretty good at it, so I can probably assume that that's what he's going for. He likes to go for Banshee harass into like tanks and doors. Not 100% sure that's what he's going to be doing, but considering it's a long game, I do expect a turtle kind of style out of him. Openings, pretty standard from me. The Zerg, it is a hatch first, and gonna be getting a third hatch before speed even. And that's something you can typically always do against Terran, unless they're, you know, rushing you with proxy barracks or something, but you're usually pretty safe to go for a very fast third, around 2.5 minutes or so. And BERSERK doesn't usually go for Reapers, as we do see he went for Marines. And pretty fast expansion on his side, getting a bunker in the front just for a little bit of defense for now. Two Lings gonna be chasing that SCV all the way home, but they get repelled by the Marines. So things gonna be pretty slow for now. The early games is to be expected. BERSERK gonna be swapping over his factory onto that reactor so you can start double Hellion production, and we do see that starport on the way right next to this barracks, which is making a tech lab, so probably gonna be switching that over to produce Banshees like I was talking about. And oh, what's this? Roach Orin out of our hero BubblyFrog. And two more gases on the way. Okay. So I don't really remember what I was doing this game, but this looks like some kind of early Roach Ravager pressure, maybe? 3 gases, no layer just yet. Oh wait, there it goes. Layer on the way. So maybe some kind of Roach speed build. Not quite sure. We do have a couple Hellions being annoying here. And did they get any drones? 2 drones and 2 Zerglings. Nothing lost on the Terran so far, so nicely done by him. We do have him going for that Banshee. Bit supply block, that's unfortunate. And third command center as well. 16 drones on the way. So that's gonna put me up to 53. That's a pretty decent number. Could use a little bit more, but as long as the Zerg is ahead. And ooh, Hellion's gonna get caught by the Lings, and both of them gonna go down. So nice pick off there. There are 2 additional ones that are gonna kill all these Lings if I'm not careful. And okay, both of us just backing away there. And we do have Roach Speed on the way. And main and natural gonna be fully saturated. And we do have Burrow as well as 13 Roaches starting up. Okay, is this gonna be some kind of Roach Burrow movement, attack, pressure kind of thing? That's pretty interesting. Burrow movement Roaches can be absolutely devastating if your opponent does not sniff it out, if they don't have detection. These few Lings just gonna be a little bit annoying. Gonna get 1 SCV there, and gonna escape with 2 Zerglings. And it's kind of interesting that this Banshee hasn't really been doing anything. I think he's had it for quite a while now, but not using it to pressure or anything. There are no spores from the Zerg, and now finally 4 Hellions as well as a Banshee. Start clearing up some creep. Doesn't get that active tumor, which is unfortunate. That would be annoying to halt that creep spread, at least temporarily, but he's going to rotate around, maybe drop another scan to get this one. But 8 more Roaches in production, as well as that Burrow movement for the Roaches, so it is going to be some kind of Burrow Roach shenanigans. We don't see any missile turrets, any Ravens or anything, so this could be a pretty powerful. We'll have to see how good my execution is, but I mean, judging from the length of this game, I don't think it's going to end the game. But let's just see how much damage it does. It does pick off the active tumor there, but Queen's going to be in position to re-drop those creep tumors. And pretty heavy commitment to Roaches here from me and BubblyFrog. So that means the third hasn't really had a chance to get established. We do see the Terran up on workers right now as he's been making his SCVs, saturating his third, and he is getting a missile turret now as well as a Raven. So maybe, I don't know, if he scouted these Roaches, you can see they have like the little spikes on their spine, so maybe he spotted that. But let's see how this does. A few Roaches sneaking by. They're gonna see that missile turret. They're gonna unburrow. Gonna take out that 1 missile turret, and then maybe doesn't want to fight that. But then another handful of Roaches. That's more than a handful. Going into the natural. Gonna get 1, 2 tanks. Gonna get the missile turret, and then gonna burrow again and make their way into the main. Gonna get another 2 siege tanks. And they're gonna go deep into the main. There is no escape here, so let's see how much damage they're gonna be able to find. More Roaches in production for the Zerg. And yeah, they're just doing as much damage as they can. I don't know if that was exactly worth it. They do get a handful of workers. This main base pretty dry right now. Take a look. The units lost 17 SCVs, 8 Hellions, 3 Hellbats, and another wave of Roaches in the third. Gonna force the lift off, but don't really get a whole lot of SCVs. They can get all these supply depots. That's kind of nice. Of course, that opens up this wall for the future. unburrowing one cheeky little roach, but there's a raven here to spot, so I'm not going to be able to deny a whole lot there. Looks like things perhaps slowing down now. Pressure has kind of been held. Nice supply lead for Bubbly, but that is mostly roaches, so it can be deceiving. We'll sneak in again with some roaches. Gonna get those 2 supply depots, force another lift off. Just super annoying, but not really gonna find a whole lot once again. We do have another group of roaches venturing out into the middle of the map. But what are they really going to be able to accomplish? There are missile turrets ready here. There is a raven with the army, so I don't know if these roaches will really be able to find too much. I'm going to burrow and go in, dive on top of these tanks. Get those 2 tanks. That's a lot of roaches to commit. I'm going for the SCVs. Get a few of them there simultaneously. Going for another attack here, but 2 tanks. Gonna be able to be enough to push that back. And now that's gonna be held once again. Just now finally starting upgrades. So all this time I did not have any upgrades. I did drone up to about 58 rather, as I start a couple buildings. But my opponent, Berserk, has weathered the storm. He is still down on supply, quite significantly. Still down on workers, but he has reached enough tanks where I can't really attack into him anymore. And he's just gonna slow the game down. And hell, look at this tank line. I couldn't possibly attack into that. I'm gonna work on these rocks, I guess. Oh, getting an SCV there. Maybe a Hellion as well. Okay, that's something. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the pressure. And again, it's been quite a heavy investment into arming for me, so worker counts not as high as I'd like it. Going up to a hive now, as well as a spire on the way. Infestation pit researching pathogen plans, so I do expect some infestors in the future. Infestors can be very good against mech, especially with their neural parasite stealing maybe these stores or tanks onto my side. But Berserk going for a bit of an attack here, and me recognizing that his army's out of position, going for a big attack of my own, getting a lot of these tanks, forcing a liftoff on this base once again, forcing his whole army back. So nice play from me to draw him back, buy time for myself and my superior economy. Burrowing once again to pick off some of these tanks. Oh, going into the natural, I don't know about that. Now all these roaches essentially trapped. Nice anti-armor missile from him. Dropping these roaches to effectively 0 armor. Make them easier to kill. I'm just gonna sacrifice all of them. Burrow 2 in the corner here. Maybe they can come back up for some damage. Oh, and 2 over here as well. We'll see if those unburrow in the future to find some more damage. And then we do see Corruptors on the way. Is that going to be for Greater Spire? That's not on the way just yet, but always an option in the future as Hive is done. And now things getting a little scary in my opinion, because Roach is not really the ideal unit anymore. We do have those roaches unburrowing, doing a little bit of damage. That's kind of annoying, but that's about it. Yeah, he's gonna clean those up, but again, forcing him to divert his attention elsewhere. Meanwhile, I'm going up to 5 bases, 70 workers, still less than ideal, but not too bad. This unit composition, again, I'm not crazy about it, just roaches. They definitely kind of fall off towards the later stages of the game, so interesting to see what I end up doing with those. Going to be moving out once again. Berserk, likewise, moving out, clearing some creep. He does have a Raven, but he does back up, and these two armies going to meet in the middle of the map, and a lot of his tanks were unsieged, but they are sieged now, so I don't know about this fight. And heavy losses from both sides, but I think that went much better for the Terran. I'm now remaking 33 roaches. And do I have anything else? Like, is that all I can get? I don't really like roaches anymore. Let's see how it goes. 5 infestors on the way, that's nice. And where did those corruptors go? Did I lose them all? Oh, there they are. Still a handful of corruptors here for the anti-air. Kind of interesting composition from the Terran. A couple banshees mixed in. Not really a unit you see as like a core army unit too often. Most of the time they'll just be used for harassment. But he is keeping some with his army, and that's pretty helpful against roaches. Of course, I do have corruptors, which counter banshees pretty well. 3-3 coming along for me. And likewise, +3 weapons on his vehicles. Coming along for Berserk. Now we do finally see the Greater Spire as well as Neural Parasite being researched. And I'm just moving around the map trying to see what I can see. Poke at this base, but tanks gonna be pretty good on the defense there, so don't want no part of that. Continue to spread this creep. Ultralisk Cavern on the way, and I don't know, I don't really like Ultralisks against mech. They're not as good as you would expect. Now things kind of slowing down once again. I'm not really going to be able to find much. All these tanks are kind of losing some roaches for free here, but at this point I feel like I kind of want to sacrifice some roaches to free up supply for other things. That was kind of costly though. 9 ultras on the way, again not my favorite composition, but maybe I felt differently back then. This game was played earlier this year in February, I think. And the supply count much closer, 199 to 170. And the mech supply is very scary. They're just so supply inefficient, whereas roaches are pretty inefficient. I'm gonna poke in, and that's not a fight I want to take. There's way too many tanks. What answer do I have to these? Some ultras, I don't know if they're gonna make the difference, but some broodlords on the way, that could help. Thor's pretty good against broodlords, however, so this is looking a little scary. This massive Terran army, a lot of tanks. Ooh, look at these infestors getting a little cheeky. Let's see how this fight goes. The broodlords are ready, and I'm just rolling on in, Neuraling some of these tanks in the back, so they are fighting for me and doing a lot of damage to their tank brethren. And looks like just barely I'm going to clean it up. Going to lose all my ground army, but these Brood Lords still commanding the skies. They're going to be able to clean up all these tanks, maybe. Some more Neurals going down, just to help clean up the rest of these tanks. These Brood Lords finishing the job here. Pretty scrappy battle there. Brood Lords finishing in the nick of time. And now remaxing on Lings and a couple Ultras. Well, not really remaxing. 132 supply to 113. Berserk gonna be going for his 5th base here. And I really need to get another base, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7th base, as my base is kind of running out here. So definitely could use another base on Lings. Find some Hellions in the middle of the map. He does not have blue. Kind of a mistake, maybe. I didn't really have Lings until now, so maybe he felt like he didn't need them. And running in, losing a lot of my stuff to this kind of ragtag army. Now remaking 52 Zerglings and 3 Ultralists. And only just now starting the melee upgrades. And I don't know, Ling's not really the best against this either. I mean, he doesn't have Blue Flame, so that's gonna help me a little bit. A lot of Lings, still a few Brood Lords in the sky. Gonna be droning up a little bit more. And now I am at 69 workers. Nice. Although I am behind just a little bit. 4 Hellions gonna make their way around. Oh, those drones! Nice pullback so they don't all die. Gonna clean up those Hellions, but considering the early game, things have definitely evened out a whole lot. And oh no, what are these drones doing? They're just following the army around. They wish they were Zerglings. No! Pull them back! I do have this base now. That's good. Could definitely use this base as well. And it's gonna be some Banelings for me. Oh no, Baneling speed on those. 8 more drones on the way. And the Terran actually taking a supply lead now for, I think, the first time this game. Another ragtag squad of Hellions clearing up some creep. Gonna get caught maybe by the Zerglings. No, they're gonna make their way all the way home. So good attention by Berserk, who is now teching up 2 battle cruisers. He's got his fusion core chugging along, researching that Yamato cannon. I don't think there are any on the map just yet, however, but he is getting additional starports, so they will be taking the field shortly. Upgrades, we've got 3/3 for ranged units for the Zerg, and +3 attack, +2 armor for the Terran. He is getting that +3, however, and I'm also getting that +2 melee. Also taking this corner base, I am, which is gonna be very helpful if this goes to a split map situation, because I already have the other corner, so that's technically his. So if I can mine some of that, that would be good. Another group of Hellions being annoying. And they're gonna scout this base, so I don't think this can stay up for long. Now I'm going up to Hydras. Interesting choice there. Researching +2 weapons on my air units. Got a bunch of Broodlords here. Got mostly just Ultra Baneling, kind of a funky unit composition. Oh, some Infestors here. They might be good. Let's see if they come into play. But I'm chasing these Hellions with my whole army, and that means that Berserk is going to be able to take out this space for free. Some more roaches. Not sure why I went for those. And now we do have battle cruisers in production. Ship weapons being researched, only +1. Oh, crashing my Banelings into that planetary. Gonna clean that up. That's a nice pickoff there. Hefty investment, but oftentimes pretty worth it, especially given my bank. The model cannon going down on the Ultralisk, that's not enough to kill it, so these guys can just run on home, maybe get transfused, and he is gonna be landing this base of his own, so I was not able to steal any of these resources from him. And he's also taking this base, so he should be mining more than me, as I haven't gotten this one yet. Creep spread is kind of halted, even though I do still have some tumors here. His creep cleanup squad has been pretty effective, and especially in this area, it's been pretty barren for quite some time now. +3 melee on the way, and looks like I'm just moving around the map trying to see if there's any openings. Pretty rock solid defense from Berserk though. Look at all these tanks. He has defensive planetaries set up. He has spare orbitals so he can drop scans for days. And I'm trying to get this fight while his tanks are unsieged. You get a bunch of them, but all that's remaining is Ultralisk and Roaches, which are not the best units against this composition. Lots of Thors from Berserk, and of course battle cruisers. My anti-air virtually non-existent, morphing in some Ravagers, but I am going to need some Corruptors perhaps. +3 flyer coming along. Hydralisk upgrades being researched as well. I don't think I've seen a single Hydralisk this game. But maybe that's on my mind. Now moving around once again, morphing in some more Banelings. And I don't know about the Banelings. What does he have that is really weak against Banelings? Nothing really. But I'm gonna be going for a little attack here. This base pretty much mined out, so not the most important base to fight for. I'm gonna be trying to get some of these buildings anyways. Do get the orbital, so kind of a mistake by him not lifting that off, and gotta back up, taking a lot of unnecessary casualties there, down to 163 supply, although lots of money in the bank, so I can rebuild. Anti-armor missile doesn't really do a whole lot, but he is chasing me with a bunch of battle cruisers, and I'm gonna turn around to fight Neuraling, a BC and a Raven. I don't know about this fight. The anti-air just not really here for BubblyFrog. And so I do clean up the ground army, but these battle cruisers are very fearsome in the skies. Gonna kill all those Broodlords. Oh no. 28 Corruptors on the way. That is what I need against battle cruisers. And he is continuing battlecruiser production, but also going into Thors, or rather continuing Thors and tanks. So I do need to juggle my unit composition. Lingbane Roach Ravager, that is a much better composition against mech. You get about 10 Ravagers, about 10 Roaches, the rest Lingbane, and you just run in, drop some biles, and disengage when you run low on Lingbane. The idea is to keep your Roaches and Ravagers alive, just bile down their important units. Your Lingbane kind of just soaks up damage, and if they can crash into whatever they can crash into, that's great. You see a big attack by him, lots of tanks with this army. I do have the anti-air now, but how about the anti-ground? His tanks all clumped up, so Baneling's actually decent against this, but like I said, I should only fight when there's Lingbane. I'm taking a lot of damage on these Ravagers. I do get a mostly clean up on his army, so it looks like that worked out fine. Some Roaches now, as well as Lings and Banes, and a lot of Corruptors. He's still continuing battlecruiser production, so I guess that's okay. And I always have the option of morphing them into Broodlords. But gotta be careful not to overcommit into the skies. Now I've got a nice composition once again. Lingbane, Roach Ravager. I'm gonna roll in with everything. Clean up all the ground and air units actually. And this base probably maybe gonna go, maybe not, no. Kind of running low on the Lings and Banes, so disengaging, that's fine. And I should be remaking my army. There we go. A lot of Lings, some Roaches, and some more Infestors. You see a nice supply lead from me. As mech, a very expensive composition to go for, so he has had to spend a lot of money to rebuild his army. He's running low on resources, not too much in the bank. And I am maxed out again with this Roach Ravager Lingbane army. Just gonna be clearing up the rocks, but not too much to find over here. Just get a couple of turrets or supply depots. Not the most important buildings, but just killing his stuff. Gonna be going for this defensive planetary. Don't finish it off. Go back to finish the job. There we go. Bile's gonna do the trick. Slowly rebuilding. Not quite maxed out yet, but pretty scary army nonetheless. Lots of Thors, battlecruisers, and some Hellions. He's actually low on gas, so he's got to spend his gas on Hellions. And is this going to be the final attack? Dropping some biles on his tanks. I do lose most of my Lingbane, so probably need to back up here. Yeah, don't really want to fight in this kind of awkward, choky position. Want to remake my Lings. There we go, 46 on the way. 4 more Roaches as well. And I'm only down to 7 Ravagers. Ideally would like a few more. And these Corruptors have been absolutely crucial in cleaning up battlecruisers. I'm trying to take this base, which is pretty mined out already, but anything helps, as my bank has kind of dried up as well. Meanwhile, Berserk up to 2.5k minerals, so hold on now. Is he actually gonna pull this off? I mean, he's still got a pretty healthy base here. This one has a few mineral patches as well, but he is kind of starved on gas. He only has about 800 gas in the bank, but I don't have too much in the bank either. 1400, 500. So it's all gonna come down to maybe the next fight. I do have some investors here. How's this gonna go? 5 tanks in this army. Is that 10 Thors, 3 battle cruisers. Pretty fearsome. He does have blue flame now, by the way. Going for the fight. Some Urals going down, taking a battle cruiser, taking a Thor, and that's a pretty good fight for me, I think. And yeah, gonna get the cleanup on this army, losing a lot of units of my own, but I am able to remax 68 Zerglings and 11 more Roaches. And it's gonna take him a long time to rebuild. He does have money, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. This might finally be the end as the Broodlords siege away at this planetary fortress. SCVs can't even get a repair going down. It looks like they wanted to, or they started, but Broodlings just nibbling away at everything. And Berserk, he's trying to muster up the forces, but just takes so long to produce mech units, and meanwhile this base is getting absolutely trashed. Broodlords setting their sights on the top left now. There's still a sizable Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager, Corruptor army here. He's gonna send some SCVs to attack my base over here. They might actually get a lot of the drones here, but that's not that important. This base in danger of going down. He drops a scan to see what he's working with, and if I were him at 78 supply, I would be tapping out right now. And there we go. GG. It's a nice long ZVT mech game for you.